All right, I think we can call that quorum to get going. Welcome everybody to the 21.12 Aspen updates in an instant. I'm not going to bury the lead. Like, the app is almost ready. We're going to push it live here, we think, in the next 2 weeks. So if you have been beta testing, thank you. If you have not been beta testing and would like to beta test, email us, put in a ticket, join us on Slack. We would be happy to have you. We'll be pushing it live to whoever wants it so that it will at least be a little easier to test because it'll be in the actual app stores. It will probably show up on the Android one and then the Apple one, just because Android's better at approving, or that they're faster at approving things. So we've added a bunch of things. I say we, but Kirsten's added a bunch of things. So yeah, we've got a lot of geolocation things. We've fixed a bunch of little errors that pop up because apps are weird and generate all kinds of weird situations for us. So there's the, are you on Wi-Fi? Are you not on Wi-Fi? Are you have you disabled location services, all that kind of good stuff. But we will be asking for which libraries would like to be launched as part of the initial release, so that your patrons can actually see your libraries. If you don't want to be live, that is perfectly fine. And we'll figure out a poll to figure out who wants to be live or not. Anybody that has a current live instance of Aspen can be shown in the Aspen Lita, the app. If you're currently soft launched would be okay. If you're not launched, well, let's wait until your Aspen instance is actually live before we put you in the app. But very exciting. We've got 500 libraries that we've been testing with. So it's very cool. Any quick questions on the app?
To take advantage of those app updates, do we need to download an updated version of the app, or those get pushed out? How does that work?
I think automatic updates are turned on by default. If you're having issues, uninstalling, reinstalling typically works. But yeah, we've been pushing releases every couple of days. So if something's not working, first try uninstalling, reinstalling, and then if that doesn't work, let us know. Please send in tickets because we want it to be as awesome as possible when we launch it initially. All right, other actual things that we've done to Aspen as well. Let's see. So Hoopla, we've done a bunch of updates, mainly to indexing and record grouping for Hoopla. So these aren't super interesting to demo, but Hoopla has added a subtitle field. So we're hoping that that's going to fix some of the grouping issues that we've had where we'd group together the book and the Overdrive title and Hoopla would be off on its own. Hopefully it's going to join the rest of the crowd now, and that will automatically group. So you should see more Hoopla things grouping. It looks like actually about 10% of the collection has beneficial grouping. So it also fixes sometimes the ebook and the e-audio book from Hoopla will now group better. So there was also an issue with Hoopla music, especially. So we would get things where Pearl Jam would be listed as Jam Pearl, which was not their name. So we're going to make sure that Pearl Jam stays Pearl Jam and all of the other artists stay their actual name instead of trying to think that their last name, first name. So that is improved and will look better. We also did a lot with genres and additional ratings to figure out audiences. So a large part of the Hoopla collection was just tagged as good for both young adults and adults. And we're doing a lot more to actually better differentiate those. So if you're doing browse categories or anything and have Hoopla and you're trying to target according to what's young adult and what's adult, that should all be better. More stuff that we can actually demo that's fun. So we've added a bunch of indexing things. These are fun to me. They're probably not fun to a lot of people, but additional control. If you have e-content in your ILS that is being sideloaded otherwise, we now have the ability to suppress those. So we're suppressing anything that has overdrive.com, contentreserve.com, Hoopla, your cloud library, access360.bakerandtaylor.com. By default, if you have things like canopy titles in your collection that you're sideloading otherwise, you can suppress those as well. So just add the pipe and a portion of the URL. It doesn't have to be the complete one, just the domain is fine. So ebooks, ProQuest, that kind of thing. So we also have added the ability to change how we're determining the literary form. So the fiction, nonfiction facet. In addition to saying, so normally we're going to say, do this by the bib record. That's how most people are doing it. We're looking at things like the 008 and the genres and subjects and that kind of thing. We can now do it also by a subfield. So if you're cataloging, like, here's all of our fiction shelf locations or fiction collections and nonfiction collections, or we've got a library that's got just specifically a field that says it's fiction or nonfiction or not applicable. You can do that with an item subfield with the literary form, and then you just say, hey, that's subfield Z or whatever. And then you have to create a literary underscore form translation map down at the bottom, fill out your proper things with what's fiction, what's nonfiction, and you'll be all set. You can also now hide unknown literary forms and not coded literary forms. So if you've got patrons getting confused with what is unknown for a literary form, you can just get rid of those so that they don't have to be confused. Also on the indexing front, we've done a lot. We had several people notice that diacritics took a turn for the worse in the last release or two. Figured out what the root cause of that was, and all of the diacritics should look much better now. So I know Spanish Heritage Month is starting soon. So all of those diacritics will look good so that we can support all of those non-English titles. If you have any other issues with diacritics, please let us know, and we're happy to take a look at those. Along the lines of supporting our non-English speakers, we've added in the catalog enrichment. So we're going to be pushing this everywhere. So we've got, let's look at consumer reports. We have the ability now to control what placards display according to language. So I can say, create a placard that is only shown for English, only shown for Spanish, shown for both. So that way you can have the text and images all be completely different, as well as trigger words. You don't have to have those try to like merge two different languages into one placard. So if these are turned, if I have Spanish turned off, then when my user interface is set to Spanish, I wouldn't see that. So we also did the same thing with menu items. So if you're creating a menu for your patrons, you go into primary configuration and your library settings. We'll go into just our main library here, go down into our menu settings. If we'll just edit one of these. So the trick is you have to scroll over here to the right, click edit, and that gives you additional options. So last time we had said what kind of patrons is that allowed for. So this is shown only to logged in users. We want to show it to all patron types, or maybe we just want to show that to probably library staff. Well, no, this is volunteers. We can show that to everybody. What languages do we want to show? So we can really have 2 sites. We can have a site for each language built in with different menus, different placards. We'll be doing browse categories and all of those other things so that you can like really tune your sites to your patrons, which we think is awesome. Couple other things, again, not super exciting, but valuable. So we finally have made some additions to the permissions to help make sure that people don't break things. So in the browse categories, so we've updated the browse categories so that if you have administer library browse categories and not, so there's administer library browse categories. If you have administer library browse categories, but not all browse categories, you can't edit things that are shared with everyone, which is nice, but you can still see them. You just can't edit things. And we also added an edit library placards. So this is different from administer library placards in that you can't add your own. So we've got some cases where people want to be able to say, I've got a book club. I'm going to create a placard for you for your book club. You can change the content of it every month to discuss, to change the topic, but we don't want you creating new placards every month and cluttering up the system. So then the other really cool thing I wanted to show off is we've updated the HTML editor. So if we go back, let's go back into our placards. Back to our placards, and let's just look at that consumer report. So we've swapped out the old editor, old HTML editor for a new tiny MCE, tiny mice. We're not sure what to call it, but it's tiny MCE editor. It allows images to be uploaded directly. So if you click insert or edit an image, you can upload that. That will then be usable within Web Builder. So you can use that anywhere you want. Use it in other forms, that kind of thing. So just a nice like workflow advantage and all kinds of other fun things. So.
And you can click, you can drag and drop to resize the images. I'm sorry, I'm so excited about the new Web Builder. Like, because it's just, yeah, it's so good. Please try it. It's the best. Thank you, Kirsten.
Yes. That's the highlights from 2112. So maybe I did bury the lead there. Is the lead the HTML editor? So all right, any questions? So this will deploy to all sites tonight and be active tomorrow so that you'll have all of those Hoopla updates and that kind of thing in the morning. If you have any issues, please let us know. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today.